Ready? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just looking back on that game, obviously it was a very high scoring game, and felt like a long game too. I don't know what the actual time was, but it felt forever. But just looking back on it, a ton of great plays. I think particularly offensively and in the kicking game, you guys made a lot of plays. We knew going in that Wake had the best offense in the ACC. It was going to be a challenge to try to slow those guys down. I thought in the first half they defensively did a decent job with that, creating some turnovers. Second half, particularly fourth quarter, gave up a lot of yards and points, and probably got wore down a little bit in that fourth quarter. I think they ended up running 102 plays. So, but I think obviously overall huge win for us and our program to go on the road and beat a ranked team in the ACC. Maybe the first time that's happened. And over the last 2 weeks to get back-to-back ACC wins. Just really proud of our guys. You can't celebrate too long because you got the Tigers coming into town this weekend. So we'll kind of put that game to bed on Sunday, and we've moved on to the Tigers. So looking forward to hopefully a great environment this weekend. Hosting Clemson.
Scott, does Evans' poise surprise you for a true freshman?
I think that's just kind of his makeup. I think he's a very even keel kind of guy to begin with. He really I've never seen him really get too excited, really emotional or anything. He just kind of stays even keel. Very cerebral player, so he's really smart, understands what we're trying to do. Extremely hard worker. We saw that right from the start when he got here in January, how hard he worked in the weight room. Now, that was a surprise. I mean, the way he worked to come in that weight room and just to do extra stuff. He days off, he's there. Here's a true freshman just showed up, and you could tell that's all he's known. That's how his DNA. And so, he's a competitor. But the poise, and that's just the way he is. I think that's his personality, his demeanor.
Coach, can you kind of lost in the shuffle the other night was the special teams. Mm-hmm. Can you just kind of comment on what they've meant all year, and then particularly on those kickoffs? A couple of blocks that were huge. I think Justin Marshall, both kickoffs had a huge block.
In Wakefield, Keon had 3 pancake blocks on the big return plays. Tremendous. Justin Marshall did as well. Special teams are huge for us. We said this day one that we don't treat special teams as an afterthought. We spend a lot of time on it. Coach Holt does a great job with that, with the special teams, and they're a big part of what we want to do. I want to be a complete football team, and we in 2 phases the other night we were really, really good, special teams and offense, and we get to the point where all 3 phases are clicking on all cylinders. We'll be hard to beat, and we want to be that football team. We don't shy away from putting starters on those teams. I mean, if you look on our kickoff return team, our top 2 running backs are back there in the back, and they're very productive in what they do. Tutu Atwell and Rajay Burns are returners in the punt game, and we've had some big punt returns this year. So, we know what Mason can do and Blanton can do in the kick as far as kicking goes, and so we feel we got to win the kicking game. We feel like we have strength there. We have good speed where we can put out there to cover, and those can be an advantage for us. And it certainly was in this game. It was huge. To the point where they're not even kicking it deep anymore. They're trying to pop the ball up, and that plays into our favor. The negative, was we lost the one onside kick. I've never seen 4 in a game. It's incredible. But we did lose the one. And so, but yeah, the special teams have been really good for us this year, and these guys have to continue in order for us to win.
Coach, you talked about obviously Evans' work ethic, but when you went back to recruiting him, even back to when you wound up at App, what about his play specifically made you think that he could be able to do what he's been able to do on this level?
Well, his film was good, I think, but the thing that put us over the top was he came to our camp at App in the summertime, and we had probably 8 to 10 quarterbacks we were kind of really targeted, and we brought them all in on this one day, and he really outshined them all. The way he threw the football, very catchable, accurate ball, but he also had good velocity on it. You check his grades, very smart player. You talk to his coaches, they're like, works extremely hard. So you start checking all the boxes, and he was the one we offered. As quarterbacks at that, we were like, all right, we want you. We're giving you first dibs. Do you want to come, play quarterback for us here at App? and he thought about it for 2 days, and then his parents called me, and he's like, we want to come do it. And so he committed to us. And then, once we got here, looking at our quarterback room, we said, listen, we got to go find a quarterback. Well, most quarterbacks have already committed at that point, including Evan. And so, we called Evan, and we loved the way he played, and said, would you be willing to come here? And he's like, they wanted to come visit. They came up. The big question was, will you give me an opportunity and a chance? And absolutely. And, we give everyone a chance. And I don't care what position, freshman or, fifth-year senior, whoever's the best player is going to play. And, obviously looking back, I mean, man, what a, great find for us to be able to get him here because, I mean, he's played great in the last 2 games. And, we don't have very much depth there for sure. And, but, yeah, he's been certainly a bright spot for our football team.
Coach, you guys have played extremely fast the last couple games. How concerned are you about your defense's ability to kind of remain to have energy late in games? It kind of seems like you guys ran out of gas in the fourth quarter the other night.
Yeah, I think what had to do with what Wake does on offense. They're a fast team offensively. If you go back and chart, they run a lot of plays against everybody. That's just the way they do it. I think we had more time possession, but we ran 72 plays. They ran 102. That's 30 snaps. If you just average 5 yards a play, that's a lot of yards. That's a whole football field and a half, right? So that's the difference. We're not a tempo offense. We are a no huddle offense. We can go fast. I don't want to put our defense in bind like that. And I think sometimes those kind of teams put their defense in bind. I think but we don't want to do that. But defensively though, you have to stop whoever you're playing. I mean, that's the bottom line. You have to try to do whatever you can do to slow them down and stop them. But 102 snaps is a lot. And what they do offensively is a very good offense. Obviously, they're top, I don't know, what are they, 4th in the country offensively, halfway point of the season. They're pretty good. And they have good quarterback play, and they have really good wide receivers.
Besides Wake Forest against Boston College as well, you guys gave up a lot of yards in the last 2 games. Is that a huge concern for you moving forward? The amount of yards that have been given up in the last couple of games, is that a big concern with you guys for the rest of the season? No,
yards are not a concern. Points are. We're getting up a lot of points in the last 2 weeks, and we've played. I think Wake Forest is 4th in the country in offense, and BC is 17th. So really good offenses. But I don't care about yards. You can have 800 yards. You just keep them out of the end zone. We got to do a lot better job keeping guys out of the end zone. And, this week right here, you're playing another very explosive offense. They're the kind of speed on the outside, one of the better running backs. Obviously, everybody knows about the quarterback. We can do it with his legs and his arms. So, you have to limit those big plays that get in the end zone. I think that's the key. We got to do better red zone defense, and hold them to field goals. I don't mind field goals. I think those touchdowns is what is so hard to overcome.
Coach, you took App down to Death Valley in 2015 to play Clemson. Mm-hmm. How are they different from then to now? What challenges are they going to present to you guys this week?
They're not really a whole lot different, I think. Obviously the players are different. I think, they over the last, 4 years, they've pretty much been the same kind of team. I think they've won 21 straight games. And that's hard to do in college football with the parity that we do have. And they played Carolina. It was a tight game there this past season, or a few weeks ago. They've had a few slip-ups, but not many. And they've won most of them, even if they didn't play well, just because of the talent they have. They've done one of the best jobs recruiting out there in the country over the last 3 or 4 years, and you have some outstanding talent. They're a little bit younger up front, maybe this year, defensively, compared to like last year, all those D linemen that went to the league. Then you look offensively with the studs they have at wide receiver, of course, the quarterback. They just got a lot of talent all over the place, and that's like most teams you play will have a few here and there, but they seem like in every position they have some of the better players, and which makes it difficult.
Yeah, you're at the halfway point of the season. You played 6. What's given you the most satisfaction so far, and what do you feel like going forward you'd most like to see your team improve at?
Well, I think probably the biggest thing is the way we've been able to move the football. We're top 10 in explosive plays. When you look at plays that are plus 30, plus 40, plus 50, And that's been good. You know, have some big play guys. You know, coming in, we thought we had some good receivers and good running backs. I thought, and that was going to be a plus for us. You know, I'm pleased the way our offensive line has come around. I think that's been a plus. You know, we got to get better defensively. I think that's the biggest thing. And because here's what's getting ready to happen to us: these next 6 games, we're playing some of the top defenses in our league coming up. You know, you have Clemson, you have Virginia, Miami, NC State. I mean, all these guys have really good defenses. And, you know, you're probably not going to be able to score 62 points. You know, you're not going to be able to score, 45 points. I mean, it's hard to outscore these type teams that we're getting ready to play because of how well their defense plays. And so your defense has to play a lot better. You know, so we've got to improve on that side of the ball, keeping them out of the end zone, making them drive the ball, and in order to win some games in the second half of this season. That'll be the key.
Scott, just the health status of Mikhail, and has Evan done enough to become your starting quarterback?
You know, I think both of those guys have played really well. You know, I think Malik coming in, you know, he's whenever he's been out there, he's played great the last 2 weeks. You know, he's gotten dinged up a couple of times. He's had to come out, and Evan's come in and played great as well. So, you know, I'll say what I've always said is that, you know, whoever's the healthiest and gives us the best chance, that's who will play. You know, I mean, it's, you know, both of those guys have played good. I mean, we've moved the football and had some big plays. We've taken care of the ball for the most part. I mean, you know, so they both can run. You know, I think we saw that, you know, with Evan in that last run he had to score. So we'll play the guy who's the most healthiest. I think that's probably been the biggest question, you know, and you know, I hate injuries, and that's part of the game, but whoever's the most healthiest guy will play.
Coach, looking at this game with Clemson, and not sure about in terms of like your motivational speeches or anything like that, do you have to bring up last year at all to these guys, or do you just move forward and just focus on
No, we hadn't talked anything about last year. You know, since day one, we've just moved forward, and you know, we are who we are right now, and we're just going to do the best we can today and tomorrow and so on and so forth. And we get out there, just have a great game plan and try to go execute and, you know, see what happens. But, yeah, it has nothing to do with last year. 2 totally different teams. They're different. We're different, you know, so we don't even mention it.
Following up on that, the idea that you've exceeded expectations with largely the same cast, obviously a few freshmen, but is there anything schematic, technique-wise, or in terms of physical development that would explain your improvement, or is it just culture change and a toxic atmosphere gone?
Well, I think it's I think it's a lot of how we've done things over a period of the last 10 months, you know, trying to be consistent and really holding each other accountable. I think that's probably the biggest change that I've seen is just the accountability that we've had within our team. You know, showing up every single day, and it is the little things, but, you know, showing up on time, you know, for study hall or class or weights or treatment, going to breakfast and lunch. I mean, all these little things, and if you just start doing things right, then you start doing things right on the football field. You know, within our, you know, DNA, we want to be a competitive team, and this is every single day that what we do in the weight room or on the field, we want to compete at it. And I think when you start doing that every day, then you expect to win. You know, and so that translates onto the football field, and I hope that's what we've been able to do. You know, and then what we do, I don't know, scheme-wise, I really didn't look at anything from the past, quite honestly. I mean, we're just kind of doing what we do. You know, and you know, we've been fortunate to have some success and be able to score some points, and I think that's why we're sitting where we are. But I think a lot of it has to do with guys wanting to be here, coming into the building every single day. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
As part of that, do you see that as you've started to win some games, conference games particularly, that you're getting more buy-in? Do you see that picking up in any way?
I would like to think that the guys get more confidence. I think because, you know, you win. The BC win was huge, first ACC win in a long time, and so last week's practice, and you know, you could just the pep in everybody's steps a little bit better. You know, I think just because they get a little bit of confidence to know, hey, we can play with these guys, and then certainly to go on the road and beat a ranked team. You know, this week, you know, guys came back in yesterday excited to be back here. You actually playing for something. I think just that confidence to know that you can compete, I think, is probably more so than anything, and you're eager to get back in here to get the game plan. You know, I always say to our guys on Tuesdays, they kind of get back and we can start meeting again on Tuesday. for them to walk into the meeting room, they're excited about, Coach, what we got this week. What are the plays this week? They're just kind of excited to see the game plan. That's fun. I mean, I think when you get to that point, it's fun for the guys, it's fun for our staff, and then let's go out on Tuesday's practice. Because a lot of times 18 to 20-year-olds, they don't want to go to practice. But these guys are excited. They're excited. What's the plan? Let's go out here and execute the plan on Tuesday, Wednesday practice, because we know that'll lead to success on game day, and they're starting to do that. That's the part that's been neat.
Scott, you mentioned the UNC Clemson game. Clemson undefeated, but they've looked a little bit beatable in moments this year. So what can you take from those games, and what's it going to take to beat them this year?
Yeah, except for this past weekend. It was I looked at this. I was just watching that film. It was 42-0 in third quarter. I was like, wow, man, they turned it on. I think when they had the off week or whatever, and everybody's talking about, what is this Clemson thing? They won 21 straight games. I think 14 out of the last 15 games they won by more than 14 points. I mean, it's unbelievable what people want to try to write a story about. This is not the Clemson, that we're used to. What? These guys are good, man. They're coached well. They expect to win, and they have a lot of talent. And again, 18 to 22-year-old guys, they went into Chapel Hill, where you're a little flat. I don't know, maybe give some credit to Carolina. Maybe they played well. Defensively had a great plan, kind of confused Clemson a little bit. They were made enough plays on offense, and next thing you know, you're sitting there in the second half, man, this is a tight ball game. But that's how you end up beating a team like Clemson, though. You play it close, and you hang around a little bit, and then next thing you know, you're beginning of the fourth quarter, and you got a game. Now, who knows what's going to happen to that point? And they had an opportunity. Carolina goes down, and they try to go for the win, go for two, and didn't get it. But really, really close. And so, it just shows that you have to show up each and every week, or I don't care who you're playing, you can get beat. I think, and that proves that. So hopefully that'll, our guys obviously have seen that and know that, we got an opportunity. If we go out and execute, we have an opportunity to hang in the game.
Coach, I know Des, probably one of the hottest receivers in the ACC right now, 3 straight 100-yard games. He talked a couple weeks ago about being a more complete receiver, but outside of his blocking, I mean, what do you see as what stands out the most for him on film? Is it his route running or his size? Or?
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination. He has great size, and he does have speed. And that combination is hard to defend. For a corner out there, he can kind of overmatch some of those corners with his size, and he's got the speed to get away from them. I think that's two things. And he's had a great run here. We're trying to find ways to get him the football in space because he can break tackles also with that strength that he has. But I love the way he blocks. He's just right now he's a complete receiver. He's doing exactly what we're asking him to do, and is to block on those running plays, and then when we call your number, go make the play. And he's been able to make it. It was unfortunate. We got a holding penalty on another one of his catches should have had, which is a big play. He's fun to watch, man. I just sit back there. I got a great view right there on the sideline watching him make those plays, and hopefully he'll continue to finish out this season, have a great year. But he's fun to be around on a practice field. He's just, he's exactly what you want as a wide receiver.
Scott, when people talk about Clemson, obviously Lawrence comes up, but Etienne is really, really good.
Yeah.
What about their line and about him in the running game is so difficult?
Well, I just keep a lot of pressure on you, because the quarterback can run also, so you have to defend that and have somebody waiting for him. When you do that, then the running back lanes maybe have a little bit more lanes there to run because you're defending the quarterback pass, but also they have those stud wide receivers. I mean, so when you put all that together, it makes it a difficult offense to defend. I think Etienne is a guy who has the speed. If he breaks the line of scrimmage, can take it to the distance all the way to the end zone. So he's a complete running back. He's a sprint champion coming out of high school, and he's proven that he's one of the better backs in the country. So that's a difficult offense to stop, for certain.
You talked about wanting to run the ball this year. But what have your backs done that have allowed you to expand that part of the game?
Yeah, I mean, we got some explosive guys. You look and see what both of those guys have been able to do. They're not huge, but if they get one little bit of crease, they're able to make some big plays. And Hawkins didn't have a great game, but he had some really good runs where he made guys miss in the hole. And he's able to bounce it outside and make some big plays. It all starts up front, though. I think that's the key, is up front offensive line, trying to get those blocks. I thought Wake did a good job of stopping in a run game at times Saturday night, and they were selling out for it. But it enabled our quarterbacks to run also. If you combine our quarterbacks had over 120 yards rushing, in that game between the two. And so you can't stop it all. That's the thing. If you're going to stop one part of the offense, then something else should be able to have a lot of yards. And that's how we want our offense to be. If you're shutting the run game, we should be able to throw it, or vice versa. And we feel like we got enough weapons. When you look at the wide receivers, you look at our tight ends, you look at our running backs, and then from what our quarterbacks can do, there's enough weapons to go around to where they can't just dial in on one thing. We can do multiple things offensively to move the ball.
Outside the program, I'd say generally the view is you guys have exceeded expectations. What's the view from inside the program?
We don't worry about it. We're taking it day by day to do the best we can. We want to win every game we play. So we're disappointed as far as, at the end of those losses, disappointed about those games. And so we're just taking it, day by day to do the best we can do. And we just hope at the end of the season what we've done is good enough, to warrant a good season. I think, I said that at the beginning of the season. What are your expectations this year? Well, to go out and play hard and to put a competitive product on the field. And then whatever that is at the end of the year, we hope we've been able to do that. I would say, if you look at a midpoint grade, we've been able to do that. We've been very competitive in our games, and we've played really, really hard. This past game, I mentioned this after the BC, we wear the catapult systems where you're charting, effort and strain and all that, and this was our best game. This was our best game. Our kids played the hardest they've played all year in this past week, and that's what we like to see, and that's what we want to see as we move forward.
Coach, at any point, I know you said obviously you're not looking, Clemson's different. So the Clemson from last year is going to be different because the personnel is different. But at any point over your 10 months here, did you look at that film to see the guys you had, and then if so, how much different is that than what you have now on the field?
No, I didn't look at any film from last year. So I really don't. I can't speak to the question because I didn't see it. When we got in here, we just said, listen, we're cleaning the slate. Wherever you are now, listen, we'll build from it, and we'll grow, and we'll get better as we are right now. Our whole thing was for us. That's why I took a little bit of time. You go spring practice, summer, and fall camp. All right, where can the best play? A guy like Robert Hicks, where can we put him? So we're just kind of looking at guys, and that was our deal, just trying to figure out where can they best help us play and find roles for everybody. And make our team a better team. And I think right now we've kind of settled in that, kind of where everybody's at. So, but I really can't compare to in the past.
Coach, there was a clip that was probably played 40 times in the ACC network. I don't know if you saw this or not, but it's where Coach Ivey had a bloody nose from getting the guys all hyped up, and then there was another clip where Stu Holt's trying to pull it back. Like what happened in that situation? Was he just trying to get him pumped up, or was it really something going on there? What's kind of the explanation behind that?
It's just a pregame, I don't know, ritual. I don't know what you want to call it, but I mean, Coach Ivey's been doing that his whole coaching career. It's just he's down there with his defensive line and getting those guys going, getting them hyped up pregame. And he just happened to get hit in the lip. I think that's why he got some blood on that one because he doesn't have a helmet on. But he's interactive. He's very passionate about what he does. I think Coach Leffert the same way. Coach Leffert getting that offensive line fired up. It's a different world when you put your hand down on the ground. Offense and defensive line. That little area right there, it's a different world. You got to be a different kind of guy to put your hand down on the ground. And Coach Ivey played D-line. Coach Leffert played, in the NFL at offensive line, and they understand that world. If you talk to defensive linemen and offensive linemen, they'll tell you the same thing. And Coach Leffert always jokes with me. He said, "You ever put your hand in the dirt?" And no. I'm a quarterback. I'm one of these guys that want to live in that life. But it's a different world. But they're just getting their guys fired up, getting their guys ready to play. Everybody's different in how they do that, and it's that's just the way they do it. Sometimes they have some casualties out there as far as some injuries go, but it's because they care about their guys and they want to get the most out of them and have fun with it. I mean, I think that's the bottom line.
When you were first hired, Vince Tyree talked about hunting a bowl game, and a lot of us thought that was pretty ambitious given what we saw last year. At what point did you feel that you had maybe a better level of talent here than was widely perceived, and perhaps that was a reasonable expectation?
Well, I really hadn't looked at that. Obviously that's a goal, you want to have, but we don't ever talk about it. We don't talk about it in the building, and all that. Again, we just focus on our opponent and hope it's going to be good enough at the end of the season. But I think probably I realized when we first half of Notre Dame that once you go out, because I had no idea what to expect. You hadn't played a game yet. You just practiced, and you don't know. And so I think when we were in the halftime at Notre Dame, I thought, man, we got some guys that go out here and compete and fight and, play for each other and all the things that we talk about. And, we didn't finish that game like we would like, the Notre Dame game, but then we'd come back the next week and you play, EKU team and you get the big win with a shutout and, so on and so forth. We've been able to get better and better. But I think really that first half, I just said, man, we got something to work with here. And I think that was, for me as a coach, because he didn't know, that was the big unknown, and I think we've proven that over, it hadn't been pretty at times, we've given up points and, left some plays out on the field, but I think overall body of work has been very solid, very competitive. Our kids have played hard. It's been fun to watch. That's all we can ask for out of these guys, and hopefully we'll continue on that with some of that with those wins the last half. All right. Thanks, guys.